Hi there. Thanks for tuning into this YouTube channel. This is Jacob, and we're calling this a washing of the Word. And that's stemming from John 13:14. After Jesus washes his disciples' feet, Jesus says, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." Well, what does that mean? Jesus washed their feet because they were dirty. In our day and age, we rarely get our feet dirty at all, at least in the United States in our culture. But we do get really bogged down and contaminated by the things of the world. Whether we're driving down a road, listening to a radio station, watching TV, going to church, going to a sports event, turning on the internet, whatever it is, as believers or non-believers, we need to be cleansed and washed with the water of the Word. And so we are here in Job, and we're studying and learning from the life of Job and the book of Job. It's for most scholars believe it to be one of the oldest books of the Bible, if not the oldest book of the Bible. And I would say that's probably legit. And I say that based on the literature and the language of this book. It is one of the most beautifully worded literature pieces I've ever read and ever heard. It's easy on the eyes, it's easy on the tongue, so to speak. And that's the book of Job. And Job's been through incredible suffering, as we already know. And his three friends, Bildad, Eliphaz, and Zophar, are so-called his friends, are being just really nasty to Job. They're criticizing him, critiquing him, attacking him with words. And the one thing they're not doing is bring relief and comfort to Job. And that's what Job needs right now. He's presently has boils and scabs from head to toe. He's got worms in his body. The Word of God says that. And his friends are horrible comforters, and Job mocks them by saying, "Oh, what wonderful comforters you are." And of course, he's mocking them. So Job is on a rant. And his latest one starts in chapter 27. I'd encourage you to jump back and listen to the other link on 27. Some real great stuff there. But here in chapter 28, it's just more of the beauty of the literature of this book and some real deep hidden truths and observations coming from the mouth of Job. Chapter 28, verse 1. There is a mine for silver and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is smelted from ore. Man puts an end to the darkness. He searches the farthest recesses for ore in the blackest darkness. Far from where people dwell, he cuts a shaft. In places forgotten by the foot of man, far from men, he dangles and sways. The earth from which food comes is transformed below as by fire. Sapphires come from its rocks, and its dust contains nuggets of gold. No bird of prey knows that hidden path. No falcon's eye has seen it. Proud beasts do not set foot on it, and no lion prowls there. Notice the boundary Job is bringing to light here. He's saying just underneath the surface of the earth is beautiful gold and sapphires and ore and wonderful things that man goes and hunts for and seeks after. And birds can't go there. Lions can't go there. He's bringing light to the boundaries here. And he's bringing light to what happens when you search for something and you dig for something, you find treasure. That's the earth that we live on. It's very present today too. There's a show right now on TV called Gold Rush, and that's what these guys do. They dig up the earth and they find flakes of gold. And obviously that's what Job is describing here. But there's something more amazing coming here. Verse 10, going on. Verse 9, man's hands assaults the flinty rock and lays bare the roots of the mountains. He tunnels through the rock. His eyes see all its treasures. He searches the sources of the rivers and brings hidden things to light. There's incredible shows right now. Gem hunters, gold rush, mining shows. There's a lot going on right now that you can watch these guys mine the earth for precious stones and metals, and it's really impressive. And I'm thinking about the North Dakota boom that just happened the last few years, and all the oil that was taken out of there, and all the fracking in the Midwest, and how man is going in and pulling out these resources. But please pay very close attention to this next verse. In light of all of that, here's verse 12. Job says, "But where can wisdom be found?" Where can it be found? Where does understanding dwell? We need to be considering this and taking this verse very seriously as God's people here. Anyone for that matter. But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? Man does not comprehend its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, "It is not in me." The sea says, "It is not with me." It cannot be bought with the finest gold, nor can its price be weighed in silver. It cannot be bought with the gold of Ophir, with precious onyx or sapphires. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be had for jewels of gold. Coral and jasper are not worthy of mention. The price of wisdom is beyond rubies. The topaz of Cush cannot compare with it. It cannot be bought with pure gold. In other words, resources cannot purchase wisdom. And Job is bringing that to light here. Where then does wisdom come from? Have you thought about that? Do you think about that? Is that taught in churches today? No, probably not. It could be. I don't know. Maybe it is. But verse 20, Job says, "Where then does wisdom come from? Where does understanding dwell? It is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, concealed even from the birds of the air. Destruction and death say only a rumor of it has reached our ears. God understands the way to it, and he alone knows where it dwells." There's our answer. God understands the way to wisdom, and he alone knows where wisdom dwells. So, as Christians, we're to go to God. He's our resource for wisdom. He is wisdom. Do you think when he created the heavens and the earth, he did so without wisdom? In other words, Jesus is wisdom. He's the manifestation of wisdom. And in James, we're encouraged. It says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all without reproach." It doesn't say to some without reproach. He says to all, believer, non-believer, anybody wants wisdom, you ask God. That's where you go for wisdom. And that's God alone knows the way to it, and knows where it dwells. Verse 24, he says, "For he," God, "views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he established the force of the wind and measured out the waters. When he made a decree for the rain and a path for the thunderstorm, then he looked at wisdom and appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. And he said to man, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to shun evil is understanding." There's incredible direction in this chapter. This chapter is Job is shifting the focus off of what his friends are saying and starting from the depths of the earth and coming up to the animals and raising up into the heavens where God dwells. That's where this chapter is leading us to think about where wisdom comes from. And our answer in verse 28 is very powerful. It says, "And he said to man, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom." What is the fear of the Lord? The fear of the Lord is not hunkering down in a corner being afraid. The fear of the Lord is respect, is awe, is a knowledge of the Holy One and who God is, to some extent that you, in other words, you don't know who God is going to be in an hour. You don't know who God is going to be tomorrow. Even though you know God a little bit in your life, or you've gotten to know him over the course of many years, you still don't know who God's going to be 1,000 years from now, even though the Bible says he's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There's a fear, a healthy fear, in the power of God, and in the power of who God is, and what God can do, and I think we'll end it with that. But the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. Thanks for listening.